right, we're ready.
So we're joined from the shores
Is
of
this loud,
the
y'all?
Ohio River in Cincinnati, Ohio, by the unbelievable president and CEO of the Voice of Your Customer and Voice of Black Cincinnati. 2024 Northern Kentucky Humanitarian of the Year and one of the subjects of our Black History Month project here at Velma Jackson. We thank you so much for joining us, Crystal Kendrick. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson. And we're recording this for all of our entrepreneurship classes in Madison County schools. My friends over at Madison Central, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you on what has become a Black History Month tradition by having you join us to talk about business and Black wealth.
Well, listen, you all are so lucky to have a teacher who is so passionate about this. I don't know, is this my third or fourth year?
Fourth.
I don't know. I don't know how you found me in Cincinnati, Ohio, but the idea that I get to talk to people in Mississippi, youth in Mississippi who are interested in entrepreneurship, just warms my heart every time. So today, I'm going to talk to you about some of the wealthiest Black entrepreneurs in the world. And I think you'll be quite interested to hear how they became so wealthy, what their business models are, as well as what some of their mottos are. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to try to be very mindful of your time, okay? Y'all
All
ready?
right. Yep.
All right. So when I look at the richest Black people in the world, these people have established wealth that is just beyond compare. If you look and see, you'll be most noteworthy is how many people are from Nigeria. That is a very educated population, an English-speaking population, and very entrepreneurial population. So, are you all waiting for me? Okay, I'll see you there. Okay, okay. And so if you look here, you'll see that Mr. Aliko is a Nigerian in the industrial business. Now, industrial is quite unique. People who have products and services, they tend to have low margins, but they also tend to have high volume. Then coming in at 6.1 billion, which is, just a little more than half of Mr. Aliko is Mike, and he is in Nigerian telecom. We
Wow.
have Mr. Robert Smith. He is here in America. He owns an investment firm. And if you don't remember him, he might be you might remember him as the person who spoke at the Morehouse homecoming. And
Yep.
at that homecoming, he guaranteed to pay off everybody's student loan debt
And their
and
parents.
their parents.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be a game changer. I have seen different reports and different uh, shows that talk about the effect of how paying off their student loans helped those students. They said they started businesses. They said they started families. They said they bought homes. They did all of these things much younger in life than their peers who were saddled with that student loan debt. So I say all that to say, if you choose higher education, be very mindful of where you go and the debt that you incur, because it will. I have friends in their 50s who are still paying student loan debt for undergraduate. All right. So thank you, Mr. Smith, for that. Then we have David Stewart. He owns the one of the largest Black-owned businesses in the United States. It's in telecom. Now, I bet you're wondering, why is Mr. Smith have more money than Mr. Stewart? The difference is that Mr. Smith has an investment firm, so he makes money on his investments. It's not necessarily his work. So these are the richest people in the world versus the largest businesses in the world. So I hope that makes sense. Can I get a thumbs up for
Yep.
that? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So Mr. Stewart owns an IT firm, and he is the largest Black-owned business in America. And then we have Abdul. He has Nigerian manufacturing. Of course, we all know Oprah Winfrey. She has a media company. Mr. Strive has a British tech company, and Patrice has a company as well. So these are the richest Black people in the world. And as you will see, almost all of them are entrepreneurs. So that's helpful. That's good to know. You're on the right track. Now, some of the richest Americans in the world, which are different than, your wealth is not always tied to the success of your business. So some of the wealthiest people in the world are Kanye West. We do know who that is. That might have changed a little bit lately with some of his personal actions, But at one time, he was one of the wealthiest people in the world with $2 billion. And he made a lot of his money, some from music, but a lot of it was shoes and investments and a whole bunch of other things. We also have Michael Jordan, who's at 1.6 billion, and his empire just continues to grow. If you have not seen the movie about, I can't call the name right now, Greg, you might
Air,
know.
Air with Jason Bateman and Viola Davis.
Yes, where it talked about the signing the contract. And
Yep.
so the fact that his mother required Nike to pay him for a profit of each shoe that he sold or something like that really propelled his wealth. It really changed the game for Black athletes. And it also ensured that we were able to take advantage of some of the opportunities that were there. Hold on one second. Can you keep my fork in water? Okay. Um, so I think that's really important to know. Then we have Tope Awanda. He owns and started a company called Calendly. So that is an online system that allows you to schedule meetings with people outside of your company, outside of your industry. You can just look at my availability, click a button, and you can set up a time with me. We also have Jay-Z. We all know who he is and how he has built an entertainment empire. Same way with Tyler Perry. Of course, we know LeBron James. He is the only or the first athlete who was still playing to earn $1 billion. Sean Combs has had his challenges, and Magic Johnson is up there as well. So we can compare this to, and this is what's really interesting. When you compare that to Elon Musk, Elon Musk is the richest person in the world, and he has $271.9 billion. So the wealthiest Black person in the world has 2 billion. The wealthiest person in the world, being Caucasian, has 279 or $271 billion. There's a big difference there. Any questions?
Uh, they're still handing me some. We'll get to them.
Okay. At least they're paying attention, so it might be somewhat interesting, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about some of the largest Black-owned businesses in the world. Worldwide Technology is who I told you about, Mr.
Sure.
Stewart. He has about 10,000 employees. Uh,
Yep.
Annual revenue is $17 billion, and he sells IT products and services. Then there's Act One Group. They do staffing services. They're at 1.1 billion. So we
We
went
just we
from,
just had somebody do a presentation on her before lunch.
oh, did you? Okay.
Yes.
And so these are ranked in a number of different orders. There's Bridgewater Interiors. They do automotive parts. Mr. Hall brings in $2 billion a year. Coca-Cola has, if you don't know much about the beverage business, Coca-Cola has the secret sauce, but they hire bottlers around the country or around the world to bottle their soda. And so Bridgewater is one of, or not Bridgewater, I'm sorry, Coca-Cola Beverages Florida is one of those companies that bottles beverages for Coca-Cola and sells them and distributes them to the stores. And their business is about 250 million. Modular Assembly is automotive parts, about a billion. Thompson Hospitality is about 600 million. They do food and facilities. Urban One, which is multimedia. I'm sure you all have heard of Radio One and TV One. So Miss Kathy Hughes has about a $484 million business. And my good friend Steve Hightower, he owns Hightower Petroleum and several other subsidiary companies. He's right here in Greater Cincinnati in a town called Middletown. And his company is about, at the time, it was about 450 million. He might be a little bit closer to a billion at this point.
Dang.
Okay. Right. There's opportunity. But one thing I will say is that the vast majority of these companies have a product that they sell, right? It is a product. Now, TV One is multimedia as staffing services, but you know, the lion's share of both the wealthiest people in the world and the largest Black-owned businesses in America has to do with a product.
Yep.
All right. Black-owned businesses by industry. So If you look here to the left, we are very concentrated as Black business owners in very specific industries. And I need to put my glasses on for this because I can't see my own typing. If you look at some of these, and they're ranked by the percentage of Black-owned businesses, 28% of healthcare and social assistance businesses are Black-owned. 28%,
Wow.
that's a very high number. Then you have professional, scientific, and technical services. That's almost 14%. And then we just start to go down as your administrative support, other services, not public administration, transportation and warehousing, construction, and all of these different things. What you don't see on here is a lot of manufacturing of products and services. And so we're just so low in those percentages that we don't even fall on the map. And so, for those of you who are truly interested in the future of entrepreneurship, I would strongly encourage you to think about how you can incorporate tech into your vision and also how you can incorporate a product or service, because that is really where the money is to be made. Okay?
All right.
I'm going to share with you some facts about Black-owned businesses. There's 161,000 plus US firms. Just 2.7% of those who have employees outside of the home. There's a difference. There's a lot of people who own businesses, and there's a lot of people who have contractors. But people who have payroll, people who employ individuals outside of the home, it's just 2.7%.
Wow.
That's hard to fathom. And I'll guarantee you, I've done some data in Cincinnati where we looked at, about 4% of the Black-owned businesses in Cincinnati have employees outside of the home. And those 4% of the business generated nearly 70% of the revenue of all Black-owned businesses in the region, employers or
Wow.
not. So they
Wow.
started calculating the numbers differently now, but the statistics, the ratios are pretty much still the same. Atlanta has the highest rate of Black-owned businesses in the US. Portland, Oregon has the lowest. Nearly 3 in 10 Black-owned businesses are in healthcare and social services, as I mentioned to you before. And 39% of Black business owners are female. Black and African American majority-owned firms provided roughly 1.4 million workers in 2021 and had $56.3 billion in annual payroll. The majority of Black business owners, let's see here. Oh, I can't see what it says. Greg, can you see? I can't see because of
Yeah,
the
it says a
screens.
majority of Black business owners have a college degree,
Uh-huh.
and most Black or African American majority owners, their business is their primary source of income.
That is correct. Thank you so much. And so that's the information I have for you today. I didn't want to take up too much time because I knew I only had about 30 minutes and I wanted to be sure that I gave you enough time to ask as many questions as you have. So, Greg, at this point, I'll take any questions that any student has. Oh, Greg,
They're,
you're on
they're
mute. Okay, there
yeah,
you go.
yeah, they're handing me some. But one thing I did briefly talk about how you started two businesses. So just tell us a little bit about how you started Voice of Your Customer and the Voice of Black Cincinnati, because even though they have kind of the same mission, they're really nothing alike. So it's really cool how
Nothing
you
alike.
started two businesses that both serve your community, but really are in two different realms.
Absolutely. So in 2007, I launched the Voice of Your Customer. It is a market research firm that specializes in focus groups and surveys and secret shopping and community outreach campaigns. That business has done me well for nearly 20 years now. And our customers include government agencies, nonprofit organizations, businesses and corporations, and small businesses. We employ about 5 individuals. So I have about 5 full-time employees who come into my office every day. And I have a number of contractors and subcontractors and people who assist us quite regularly. I also, in 2016, decided that our community needed a way for a way to share information that was culturally relevant to Black and African Americans in our city. We had a Black newspaper that was printed. It had not gone to digital. It had not, um, taken on to social media. So that was a bit of a challenge. Um, and that was about all we had. And so people in our community really struggle. Businesses struggle to get customers, employers struggle to get diverse employees, and people who were having events struggled to get, um, people to attend. So this platform, which includes a website, social media pages, a newsletter, and text messages, has now, become the place to be in Cincinnati. And so individuals can learn from our resources, observe from our calendar entries, get jobs from our job board, and also get resources from, that we've discovered throughout the region.
Absolutely. Well, I do have some great questions here, and I'll let you know I didn't coach these at all. These are unbelievable. This first one is
Okay.
this first one is Zayden Mann. He's in ninth grade. He's got a great concept for custom logo design on both apparel and print. And he
Uh-huh.
asked, "What has been the best way and best practice that you have used to attract customers?"
The best way to one very good way to attract customers is to do great work and to have to add value with your products and services.
There you go.
So I'll tell you, everybody thinks sometimes they need to be the most expensive, and that can be the case. But I would argue that McDonald's doesn't have the best burger you've ever had. The McDonald's hamburger, the McDonald's quarter pounder, the McDonald's Big Mac, it's good, but it's certainly not the best you've ever had. And it's not the most expensive. What it is it's consistent. And I don't care where in the world I go, when I order a Big Mac, there will be two all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun. And that consistency and that value has brought McDonald's a lot of money and a lot of resources. So, the best way that I can tell anyone to get customers is to offer a good product or service that adds value to your customer's life at a price point that that they value. And when you do that, that's great. Now, there are other very tactical approaches that you could use, everything from search engine optimization so that you can be found online to handing out flyers at the party. There are a number of ways, and you will figure out what works best for you. What I would encourage you to do is to be sure that you can identify how customers found you. So you might have different QR codes, you might have different website analytics, you might have different telephone numbers, you might have whatever. But once you find what works, just keep doing it.
Love it. This is Shateria Hannon. She's in ninth grade. I'm sorry, 10th grade. I almost got her grade wrong. And she asked, after graduating from college, what was it that inspired you to be an entrepreneur?
So when I graduated from college, I thought for sure that I would work in corporate America until I retired. I thought I would retire as the director of customer service at some Fortune 500 company and be done. Unfortunately, God had a different plan. I worked in corporate America, and like many people my age and my race and my education level, we struggled in corporate America. Not because we couldn't do the work, but because our views were different. Our experiences were different. And most importantly, our approaches, our insights were different. At the time, they weren't appreciated. They weren't appreciated. And so many of us left corporate to do our own thing. I would say today it's a little bit better. Well, it was until the elimination of all DE&I and affirmative action and all those other things happened. But, so we may be going back. But at the time, it was very challenging to express yourself in a working environment. And so I chose to become an entrepreneur, not because it was my dream, but because it was the only way that I felt that I could do the work that I was called to do.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's still something you're passionate about. Because what I see a lot of young entrepreneurs make the mistake is they just want to do something because they think it's easy money, or they don't want to take orders from somebody. And that is the wrong reasons to become an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Because trust me, you're taking orders from people, they're just called customers. Used to be called a supervisor, now they're called a customer. So yeah, and pardon me, I have a very bad sinus infection, so I apologize for um having a tissue with me.
Oh no, you're fine. We're just so grateful to have you here. I got two more. This is Raheem Cole. He's in ninth grade, and he asked, "What three skills do you think make the most successful entrepreneurs?"
Oh. Oh, that's a very good question. The first skill I would say is you have to be good at what you do, right? And now that doesn't mean that you have to be the person who's good at it, but you have to have a team of people. Your team needs to be able to consistently produce good, valuable products and services. So that's number one. Number two, you have to manage money well. And that's a big reason that a lot of people leave entrepreneurship, not because they don't have customers, but because they haven't managed their money well. You have got to have an accountant. You've got to have a bookkeeper. You've got to have somebody getting you sorted out for your taxes and, all of these other things that are happening because it will come back to get you. What you make is not what you can keep. So you have to have good money skills. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we pay cash for a lot of things because we don't want monthly bills. Our monthly bills are so low because you never know what kind of month you're going to have.
Yeah.
So, you need to manage that. And if you have work that is seasonal or work that is, dependent on a single source, like, all of your customers work at this plant or all of your customers come from the federal government or all of your customers, if you don't have diversity within your customer base, you could struggle with that. So that's number two. And number three is you have to be willing to continue to learn. You have to be eager to learn. And learning can come from books, learning can come from classrooms, learning can come from podcasts, learning can come from mentors, learning can come from, the list goes on and on and on. But you have to be willing to learn. Most of us are at the peak of our industry when we start our business, but we don't continue learning. So then we get left behind. And as your industry innovates, as your workers innovate, you have to be able to do that as well. And so as you grow your business, your job becomes not so tactical to do the work. Your job becomes the visionary, the enabler, the manager, the person who can make sure that this engine runs. And you're going to spend a lot of time loving your employees because let me tell you, if right now, if my employees walked away, my business was shut down. I wouldn't even know what to do. So you have to be a very good people manager because when you have a small business and people walk away, I mean that you don't have people to easily backfill.
Big time. Now
Yeah.
I love this one. This might be
Did
the
I
best
raise
question.
my own hand?
Yeah, you did, but it's
Sorry
fine.
about.
This might be the
Okay.
best question you've ever gotten on this platform. I love this one. This
Okay.
is Kaylin Bullock. She's in ninth grade. She has a really cool concept for natural hair bundles. She
Yes.
asked, "What legacy do you hope the voice of your customer and the voice of Black Cincinnati leave on the Cincinnati community?"
Let me tell you, I appreciate that. I am at a point in my career where it's not about generating a lot of income anymore. I still need that. But it is about going from the excellence of work that I've done to the significance of the impact of my work. And so I'm very passionate about improving the quality of life and creating self-sufficiency for Black Americans in Cincinnati. Um, we have high poverty rates, we have lower education, we have worse health outcomes, we have the shortest life expectancy, we have, the list just goes on and on and on. And so that is the purpose and the reason that I continue to do what I do is because all of my vision is to reduce poverty, increase household income, increase home ownership, increase education levels, increase family stability, all the things that help you have a better quality of life and a longer life. Right now, one of my greatest passions is around violence. And I heard a really smart person, I can't think of his name, he wrote a book, but I just heard this the other day. He said, you are more likely to get into a he said, violence typically comes from disagreement. And he said, I'm not talking about, rape and things like that. Those are crimes of, someone making bad judgment calls and doing bad things, and they are punished. And those crimes across the country and around the world are relatively low in comparison to the crimes that come from disagreement, right? And he said, in a, in a, in America, we have disagreements just like everybody else, but it's more likely to result in murder than crimes in other places. In other countries, they have barroom fights and disagreements, but either one, they step away because they find that they have something in life to lose, right? We have all been tempted, but we have walked away from a situation, not because the other person was right, not because we were wrong, but because we stepped back and said, getting into this situation could cause me not to have the opportunity to fulfill a dream or, help my children or whatever. The second thing he said is everybody else doesn't walk around with guns. If they have a ballroom fight, it's a fist fight, it's a slap in the face, it's something that doesn't result in death. In America, we have people who feel like they have nothing to lose, that their pride in a bar is worth more than 10 years of incarceration. Their pride on the street is worth more than a life bid or ratting someone out, right? Feel like they have nothing to lose but their pride. The other thing is we walk around with guns. So let me bring this full circle. What I'm working on right now is helping people get through disagreements. And that is in two ways. Number one, by realizing that you have something in your life to lose.
There you
And
go.
I pray that you all on this call know that you have something in life to lose. It is your business. It is your family. It is your opportunity to grow old. It is your opportunity to be educated over some stupid stuff like somebody stepping on your sneaker. Okay, you have more to lose. The second thing is disagreement does not have to result in death. Guns have a place in our society. I am not an advocate that we just need to walk around with them for the chance that someone might shoot at you, so you need to shoot at them, and that is a challenge. And so I'm asking you, as you think about your dreams, as you think about your businesses, as you think about your family, as you think about all of those things, remember that you have something to live for, something to walk away from, a reason to not get involved in what is is not right. And I'll end it there. I hope that was helpful.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we're almost out of time. And as always, it is such a joy to have you with us. But a couple of things before we go. First of all, voiceofyourcustomer.com,
Yes.
voiceofblackcincinnati.com. You can see all the great things you're doing there in Southern Ohio. But the last thing before we go, and you kind of touched on it, is, something I always say, and I'll say it here on a recording. I always tell these kids that Black History Month should not mean more to me than it does to them. And
Uh,
that's not downplaying um, uh, uh, anybody, but it's important to understand the struggles that so many people went through for them to be able to have this opportunity. And look, you know how I feel about this. People can't help where they were born. They can't help their situations. Rural communities were left behind for decades when it comes to access,
yes.
opportunity, and resources. But those things are starting to change. So just because you haven't
Hmm.
seen it doesn't mean you can't achieve it and be the first to do it. And our economy
Absolutely.
and our culture needs more Black business owners. So they can be sitting here right
Absolutely.
now thinking, I'm just from the country, I don't have a chance. But I'm telling you, we need them to be those small business owners.
Absolutely. Oprah came from the country. Tyler Perry came from the country. That whole list of people, they came from the country. Do not let your birthplace dictate your future. Do not let that happen. Do not let your situation, don't let your income, your poverty, don't let any of that dictate your future because some of the wealthiest, most successful people in the world came from the exact same situation that you have or worse or worse. You have so much potential. Just being in this class, just having a vision for being an entrepreneur puts you light years ahead of others. So keep dreaming. And Greg, if there's ever a student in your class who needs, one-on-one coaching or anything like that, do not hesitate to message me. And so we can get that sorted out because I want them to keep going with their dreams.
I love it. Well, and thank you for braving through the sinuses. I appreciate it. Just it's always such a joy. It's become a Black History Month tradition for us here. But my friend, Crystal Kendrick, all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio, thank you so much, as always, for joining us.
My pleasure. You all have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
All right. Bye bye.